May it please the court. Good morning, Your Honor, opposing counsel, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. My name is Gina Frazone, representing defendant Stephen Smith in this matter. Mr. Troy Avenue started by quoting, "Cheaters never win." Well, I also would like to start by using a quote by Jonathan Edwards, "There are always two sides to every story." The defendant stands here today wrongly accused of attempting to distribute heroin, a profoundly serious offense. The prosecution wants you to believe that Stephen Smith is nothing more than a common drug peddling criminal. Not only is there no physical evidence linking Mr. Smith to the heroin-filled envelopes, but Mr. Smith was a victim of an overzealous detective who made mistakes from the very beginning of his investigation. Mr. Smith has and never was caught in possession of narcotics. Yes, the facts are that on January 26, 2015, Homeland Security Investigations did contact the Broward County Sheriff's Office about drug distribution of heroin coming from India. Yes, the address was that of where Mr. Stephen Smith and his family reside. But does that prove his involvement? We all live somewhere with an address, and every single one of us at some point of our lives have had times where mail that does not belong to us have been sent to our homes under names we never heard of that we consider junk mail and toss in the garbage. Does that mean if something incriminating was sent to our homes without our knowledge, that immediately we are liable for its contents? Imagine Mr. Smith's wife, who was the first victim of Detective Cole's wild investigation, and who was also 7 months pregnant at the time, was in a rush to go pick up her kids. In the middle of that rush, gets a phone call asking her if she is waiting for a package from India, to which she replies yes. Now, one must remember, just because Mrs. Smith is waiting for a package from India and the envelopes were from India does not place blame with Mr. and Mrs. Smith. When Mrs. Smith gets to the office to pick up her packages, she is immediately bombarded by law enforcement and brought into the office for questioning. At this point, Mrs. Smith was not read her Miranda rights, and it states that if a person of interest is detained, meaning they are not allowed to leave at their own free will, they are to be read their Miranda rights. Detective Cole then threatened the 7-month pregnant mother and told her that she would be arrested if she did not confess to being involved, to where Mrs. Smith gave several incriminating statements out of fear. After Detective Cole felt sure enough that he tied in Mrs. Smith, it was then time to focus in on her husband. The detective asked if he can enter her apartment. He never used the words search, and Mrs. Smith obliged. After Mr. Smith opened the door, the detective and the other officers on duty ransacked their home, finding nothing. Mr. Smith, who was previously taking a nap, had no idea what was going on, and after countless times explaining to Detective Cole that him and his wife had no involvement, Detective Cole, once again without reading Mr. Smith his Miranda rights, then threatened that if Mr. Smith did not fully cooperate, he would arrest his pregnant wife and that she was already in custody and handcuffed in the back of the police car, which was a lie. Mr. Smith, fearing for his frail pregnant wife, finally gives in and admits to the drug charge. This proves how cold-hearted Detective Cole was to the Smiths and how headstrong he was in his investigation to make an arrest at any cost. Stephen Smith was a loving husband who, out of fear for his wife, gave incriminating statements to the police without knowing of his rights to an attorney. As I stated in the beginning, Mr. Smith was never caught with drugs or any other incriminating physical evidence for him to be brought up on charges. I am, without a shadow of a doubt, positive that after reviewing the facts of this case, you will see how clear it is that Mr. Stephen Smith is not guilty.